Okay, so everyone, my lovely audience of fours, I'm gonna just make sure that she can see you all right. Let's see.
All right.
There's Arlene and Vivian and Karen and Deb, who's the hostess. And
Who's white?
The hostess.
yeah, why do you look so white? Well, there you are. Maybe you're an extra special person. Huh?
Is this recording?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'd like to start off by telling you a little story that happened to me a couple weeks ago, and Debbie knows this story. I was sitting at my computer, minding my own business, typing, doing my work, and all of a sudden I felt a sharp pain, very sharp pain over here. And I said, oh, I've just been sitting too long, so I'll get up and I'll walk around. And it didn't help to walk around. And in fact, a while later, I couldn't stand, I couldn't sit. I was in the bathroom really not well. And I almost called the ambulance. And I thought I had appendicitis. But it turned out I was just having a really severe digestive episode. And, I called a friend. She gave me some advice, and I was better 3 hours later. But I made some mistakes, over the preceding 24 hours in what I ate. And this doesn't usually happen to me, so it was unusual. And so I'm going to, in this little talk, I'm going to tell you how to avoid the terrible fate that I suffered that day. I'm going to give you 4 little points that I've come up with. Okay, so the first one is called mindful eating. That sounds a little poetic, right? Number 2 is simpler foods. Okay. Number 3 is food helpers. And 4 is a little surprise. So I'll just leave it till I get there. Okay.
Sounds good.
So part of what I did wrong and I think maybe plagued some of us is I was very, very busy those few days before, and I was just eating. And what I had was a whole package of turkey pepperoni. I innocently thought, it's a nice protein food, and I'm busy, so I would just run downstairs, and I ate a lot of it quickly, without chewing, without thinking, and it was not digesting, through properly. So basically, my point here is, I hope I'm getting it across, is that sometimes it's good to just slow down a little bit and focus on what am I eating and how much, instead of on to the next thing to my day, let me just throw something in and go. So that basically is about to be just slowing down a little bit and thinking as we eat and as we choose. And another thing that I'm also taking human biology, so it's discussing a little bit about how different foods are constructed, molecularly, and foods like meats and cheeses and fatty sorts of things, which we are privileged to get a lot of here in America, they're actually not so good in abundance, really, for us. It's almost like giving a 5-year-old the Oxford Dictionary to read. It's too much, when the body's trying to disassemble all this and put it in its place. And of course, my system told me, you have really overloaded me today. I don't like what you've done. It's too much. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we have too much to think about in our heads, and we can also do that with our bodies. So, foods that are a little simpler, and maybe they seem a little boring. Advertisers maybe don't promote brown rice or oatmeal or, fiber bread, they do. But some of the things that seem a little more boring, that's a good break for our system, and we still get the, the nutrition and all. So my third point here has to do with helpers, and there were so many of them that I had to pick only my 4 favorite. So, and the reason they're helpers is, of course, fiber. Everybody knows about that. And that's like the broom that cleans us out. And my favorite broom is long grain brown rice, and it's a nuisance to cook, but recently I found that they sell it already cooked. The little Uncle Ben's package, if you go in the rice section, it's already cooked, so you don't even have to go through the nuisance of cooking that. So right in the soup, in the salad, and it is beautiful. Let me tell you, it's beautiful what it does. And Another helper are things that are enzymes, and I don't know, people remember from science, but they're little, they facilitate, they make everything happen faster, you know, at proper speed in the body. So something that's good for this is anything green foods. And what I do, because I don't like to make salad, I don't like to get all this out of the, you know, I can't be dependent upon to do this on a daily basis. So I go to the Mother Earth store and they have big boxes in there, and they have all kinds of green stuff, sprouts, everything. I'll just pile up on that, and it'll take me maybe a couple days to eat through it, but then I've got my green thing happening, and that also really helps. Now, if I had been doing this on the unfortunate day, then I would have been better. And then the other helper that I want to mention, and you probably know about, is good old yogurt. And the Russians eat it, and they're very strong for a reason. The researchers, they don't know why it really helps, but it has good bacteria, so that makes us feel good. It combats the bad ones. And the way that I use this is I just make a fruit shake. Again, I don't like those little cartons with the jam in the bottom. That kind of defeats the purpose. So at my house, we put plain yogurt and orange juice, frozen strawberries. It is really, really good. Really a lovely, you know, kicker. And the other helper that I'm going to tell you, you're going to go, yuck. But my grandmother says it's good, and she has she has never been sick a day in her life. This is apple cider vinegar. And she used to say, if you have a cup of hot water with a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar and honey, you will never be sick a day in your life. And she's 87 years old. She stacks her own firewood. and she has never been sick a day in her life. I've never seen her sick with anything intestinal. It sounds yucky, but I have used it too, you know, and it really, really helps. Just if things are off balance in here, even if you have acid reflux, it helps. You know, it puts everything back to balance, the pH wise. So my fourth, you know, how to avoid misfortune item is I'm going to give you a hint. Suppose that you were going to wash your clothes in the washer. You filled it all up to the top with clothes. And then somehow your water level wasn't on correctly, so it only filled up with a quarter level of water. And then the cycle went through. Well, it wouldn't get very clean, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of us, sometimes we get busy and we really don't give our bodies enough water. The same thing's happening, and there's not maybe the cleanliness that we would want to have. So it's a nuisance to remember 8 different times. You know, all the popular culture, it says, you know, 8 glasses of water a day. So what I do with this, normally when I'm being good, the 2-liter soda bottles, the soda's not in it anymore, but sometimes I will just fill that up and put a little lemon in it. And if I'm going someplace, I'll just glug on that, you know, and make sure it's gone by the end of the day. That's about how much you need by the end of the day. Or if I'm home, I'll make a great big pot of herb tea, and I'll just work on that. And so it's kind of, it saves a nuisance of going back and forth 8 times. And if it's something that's in front of your face, maybe you kind of remember it. And, you know, there's all those beautiful water bottles out there these days. So those are kind of the things that I normally do and should have done. And I hope that if you ever start to feel ill, you'll think about some of these things too. It's the, you know, this slow mindful eating, you know, thinking about what we're going to have, using a little more simple things, maybe not so many meats and fats and things, using the helpers, especially the strange cider vinegar, and drinking lots and lots of water, lots of water. So those are my hints for you today on digestion. I hope I kept them simple and interesting, and we can now hopefully have breakfast and digest. So and I have to prove that you all stayed through the whole thing. So Arlene, Vivian, Karen, and Deb, the extra special angelic person. So thank you very much, everybody.
That was really very good.